We live in this amazing world, right? We've got incredible technology, data zipping around the globe, super complex financial systems. But have you ever stopped to think about the one physical thing that makes all of that possible? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the one resource that, more than anything else, truly powers our world.
So take a second. What do you think it is? Is it electricity, the internet maybe, or just pure human brain power? And look, all of those are absolutely vital, no doubt about it. But they all stand on the shoulders of something more basic, something we almost don't even see anymore.
Yeah, our whole global system is this giant tangled machine with a million moving parts. But if you start following the wires back to the source, you'll find that pretty much everything plugs into one single resource. And honestly, it's impossible to overstate how important it is.
You guessed it, it's oil. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What about renewables? What about electric cars? And those are huge. But the reality is, crude oil and everything we make from it, it's still the lifeblood of the entire global economy. So let's break down exactly why that is. We're going to look at three main reasons.
Okay, first up is the one you probably already thought of, transportation. I mean, our entire world is built on moving stuff and people from point A to point B, often across huge distances. And guess what powers nearly all of that movement? Yep, oil.
And when I say nearly all, I really mean it. Think about it. All the cars on the road, the vast majority are running on gasoline or diesel. Those gigantic container ships that carry basically everything you own across oceans, they're burning heavy fuel oil. And every single commercial flight, that's jet fuel. And all of it, every drop, comes from petroleum.
And look, this isn't just because we're used to it. It really comes down to physics. Petroleum-based fuels are just incredibly potent. They pack a massive amount of energy into a small space. That's what we call energy dense. And for things like flying a giant metal tube across the Atlantic or pushing a supertanker across the Pacific, there's just nothing else that comes close right now. Not on that scale. So the takeaway here is simple. Our entire physical connection to each other, it rests on oil.
But okay, that's the obvious stuff. The story gets way more interesting when we look beyond the fuel tank. Because what we've talked about so far, that's really just scratching the surface. The second major reason for oil's dominance is its role as a raw material for, well, pretty much everything.
So oil just gets us from A to B, right? I mean, that's what most of us think. It's fuel. You burn it. End of story. But that completely misses its other secret identity. It's the fundamental chemical building block for our entire modern world.
See, when crude oil comes out of the ground, it gets sent to a refinery where it's kind of cooked and separated into all these different parts. Now, some of those parts become the fuels we know, like gasoline. But the other parts, the industry calls them feedstocks, they become the ingredients for a ton of other stuff. This is where oil stops being a fuel and starts being a material.
And the biggest, most obvious example of that, plastics. Seriously, just look around you right now. Your phone case, your computer keyboard, the pen on your desk, the bottle of water. Chances are, almost all of it started its life as a bit of crude oil.
But it goes way beyond just plastics. Oil byproducts are essential for making a ton of chemicals we rely on every day. We're talking about the fertilizers that grow our food, the detergents that wash our clothes, even key ingredients in life-saving medicines. It's everywhere.
And on top of all that, oil is literally the grease that keeps the wheels of manufacturing turning. I mean that literally. The industrial lubricants that stop machines from seizing up are made from oil. And the asphalt we pave our roads with, that's oil too. It's woven into the very fabric of how we make things. Without it, the world's factories would just stop.
All right, so let's recap. We have oil moving everything, and we have oil making everything. And when you put those two things together, you get our third and final point. How oil basically acts as the engine for the entire global economy.
It's really like a simple chain reaction. As the world's population grows and countries develop, people want more stuff and more energy. Well, to meet that demand, you have to power up factories and ship goods all over the world. That's what drives global trade and manufacturing. And what's the one resource powering that whole cycle, from the factory floor to the cargo ship? It's oil. That whole loop, that's what we call economic growth.
Here's probably the simplest way to put it. The desire we all have for a better life, for more things, for better services, that demand is the engine of the global economy. But any engine, no matter how powerful, is just a hunk of metal without fuel. And for the past 100 years or so, oil has been that high-octane fuel. It's what's allowed for a level of growth the world had never, ever seen before.
So when you really look at it, from the gasoline in your car to the plastic in your keyboard, Oil's influence is, well, it's total. It is the foundation that our modern world was built on. And that brings us to a really big question, one that we all have to think about. If our whole economy is built on this one single thing, what does that mean for our future? Understanding just how deep this reliance goes is the first step, but the real challenge is figuring out what it would actually take to build our world on a whole new foundation.
Share, like, comment, and subscribe.